And some people make an argument for gold because they're like, in turmoil and in the end times, it's going to have value. It's more valuable than the fiat currency we're on of just paper.
Yeah.
Okay, I would agree that it's more valuable, but at the same time, in that time, it's probably going to be about toilet paper and batteries and food and, bullets. Money can be complicated. Let a nerd help you. We're here to demystify the complex nature of money by getting you answers from financial nerds and whiz kids. Welcome to Ask the Money Nerds, a weekly segment of the Wealth Labs podcast where we answer your most pressing money questions. Gold, not gold doubloons, but gold. We get a lot of questions about during a recession. Should we move to gold? Or I'll even see YouTube comments where people are like, you should talk about gold. Why aren't you talking about gold? All right, we're going to talk about gold today. So if you're interested, this is the topic. All right, Stolba, what we got?
Yeah, this specific question came in from Metal Bum, and it's in response to your prepare for the recession video. So it was a comment left on YouTube. And this person says, how about gold for recession? What sort of allocation? I'm in cash 50%, gold 25%, bonds 12.5%, and 12.5% in the S&P stocks. So what are your thoughts on that portfolio for a recession?
Well, look, I think the all seasons or all weather portfolio that Ray Dalio does would be great to follow and understand because he's a brilliant investor. I'm not really a stock market investor. I don't have a lot to offer in that world. My main focus is economic independence. When people are economically independent, it creates such a strategic advantage for them. So that's having enough recurring revenue from assets to cover your basic expenses. When you do that, think about it. Most people are trying to save 10% of their income and earn 10% on that income. And they're really struggling to do that. What if you could get enough cash flow to cover all your expenses in 3 to maybe 10 years, let's say? Now you could invest 100% of your active income, right? You could reinvest that back into a business, back into investments, back into experiences, but you are not kind of in the grind at that point. And my concern with gold is it's more volatile. Gold and silver in particular. And yes, we've seen where there's been major run-ups, especially during times where people get heavily concerned and a little bit of hysteria, but you could have a major organization sell and watch a major dip happen in one day. I do recommend if you have gold that you take physical receipt of it versus having it in a note because there's a lot of derivatives and there's a lot more notes saying that there's gold than there's actually gold that's mined and available out there. And some people make an argument for gold because they're like, in turmoil and in the end times, it's going to have value. It's more valuable than the fiat currency we're on of just paper.
Yeah.
Okay, I would agree that it's more valuable, but at the same time, in that time, it's probably going to be about toilet paper and batteries and food and, bullets. So if it were really to be that extreme, so you got to be careful because I think people speculate with gold that aren't informed. And I've had clients that get so heavily caught up in gold and they were buying it so in such masses thinking it was going to do nothing but go up, but it didn't. It actually came back down and it was a substantial loss for them. So first question, is it part of your investor DNA? Second question, are you economically independent? Third question, are you really investing in it or are you speculating with it? So those are my beginning pieces.
Okay. Now, what is the accessibility of gold? Like if you have a note versus... What was the other thing that you said?
Actually take a physical receipt of it, whether it's, in coins or whether it's in a big gold bar. I'm more in it for the coins, right?
Yeah. So what if someone has a stockpile of gold coins?
Yeah. I mean,
what are they going to do with those when?
Well, you can cash those in for cash right now. And in Utah, you can use it as currency. And I guess if it's times are going bad, you're probably more likely to get someone to take that to get the hell out of Dodge for you than they're going to take, dollars or things at that point. So it could be a hedge overall. Like I don't have a ton of gold and silver. I have 1 month of expenses and I've secured that in a safe.
Okay.
That's it. It's not my cup of tea. It's, I get that there's people that make a lot of money on it, but that becomes their investor DNA. It becomes something you obsess about. I don't know a lot of people that cash flow it, right? They buy it at certain times, they accumulate it, or I've known other people that have just bought gold over time and over the years, they just have it, and that's fine. It's okay, but I like cash flowing assets better. I like economic independence is the main priority. And I feel like sometimes with gold, it's like if we were sitting around this table and we were with other World Series of Poker champions, but we didn't know it, and we're playing poker, and they're letting us win. We're like, we're good. You're winning sometimes, I'm winning sometime. And then we're like, this is all great. We're making money. We're winning money. But then all of a sudden, when there's enough chips on the table, they finally play their cards and they take all of our winnings.
Yeah.
That can happen with gold a lot of time. You don't know who you're playing with, and if they're bluffing for a while, or they're letting the price run up before they eventually unload and sell. Like, how much do you really know about it? It's the same question with all investments.
Yeah, sounds
but
like
this one has a lot more charge to it. It has a lot more passion. A lot of times, people that invest in gold, a lot of them believe we're in the worst of times. Everything's about to end and it's terrible. So you gotta, go get land and guns and gold and, food storage and all that kind of stuff. And there's maybe some merit to that. But at a certain point, I'm like, I just want to die if things are going to be that bad, right? It doesn't even matter. And that's not going to be that valuable. So is it a viable investment? Yes. Usually not a cash flow one. And more people are speculating with it than are truly investing in it because they don't know how it works or why it would go up in value.
Are precious metals, equivalent to gold in the sense that, have some as a hedge, but don't put too much?
Yeah, you have to have, silver is less expensive. So, if you got a lot of it, it's going to be harder to transport, and the gold standard. So most people talk gold and then silver secondarily. And I mean, it even takes us into the conversation with currency changing. Where does cryptocurrency fit in?
Yeah.
Right. And where's that valuable? Because money became more convenient than gold. Because how do you have a gold bar and what do you shave some off for someone and measure it? All of a sudden with money, we had different ways of and we left the gold standard, and that's been a big concern for a lot of people. But there's other things like fractionalized banking. That's a problem too, that you make a deposit, right? Someone lends that money out like a bank, but then someone else gets the loan and they go deposit, then that money gets lent out again. And we see the same dollars getting lent out multiple times.
Recycled over
that creates a problem. And so there's plenty of people out there that have valid concerns with our monetary system, centralized banking, and that it's really a not federal and it's not a reserve. And if you read The Creature from Jekyll Island, I was in Money Revealed, and the guy that wrote that book was in that documentary as well. So all these problems really exist. The key to all this is we just have to get really productive ourselves and be leaders and discover our skill sets. Because if all this, went to shit, it comes down to who do you know? How do you add value to them? How do you come together like old times, like tribes do? I mean, a lot of these damn tribes are the happiest people that we find with the least materials because they stay connected and they're part of a community. And we're not talking about that extreme of a situation here, but when recessions hit, you watch, the commercials are going to skyrocket from people wanting to buy gold, right? Remember all the cash for gold, commercials that were out there. They used to even be on the Super Bowl during the last recession, to all the commercials about how how we're in terrible trouble and everything could collapse and you should buy gold. Like you just heard a lot about it. And so be careful, because the higher the emotion, the lower the financial IQ. And if you're really intelligent about when you get in and when you get out, because that's your expertise, that's your investor DNA, then gold may be for you. Otherwise, get it as a hedge and then move forward with cash flow.
So one of the parts that this person brought up was he has some gold, 25%, 50% is cash. So that seems like
and we're seeing a massive move to cash. A lot of the wealthiest people, I've read multiple reports, they're moving to cash because they're ready to pounce on opportunity if a recession comes. And there's a lot of people believing that there is going to be a recession. I've even had videos on a 2020 recession.
Yep. Yeah. So is there anything you have to say about the 12.5% that this person has in bonds versus the S&P?
I mean, that's not really my area that I put money at all, because it's not my investor DNA. Bonds, interest rates are pretty low. If they go up, that's going to lower your value or get capital depreciation. Stocks feel very overvalued. They've been on a run up for a really long time. And I worry about protecting the downside on that. Yeah. And obviously they're heavy in cash. They're looking for when the opportunities come, because when there's distress and when there's economic chaos and everything's on sale, those with cash are king, and they can buy at a deep, deep discount.
I was just going to say liquidity is king, right?
Yeah. Liquidity is king is how you say it. Most people say cash is king. It's a little bit more it's catchier, but I like that you're the intellectual teacher giving us that. All right, so that's our conversation today on gold. Go to askthemoneynerds.com. Ask your questions. Give us some good context. Hopefully we'll provide a back and forth. Be patient as we get a lot of these questions, but we love to answer these live, and it lets us know what people are concerned about, worried about. And our job is to help you turn your thoughts into profits and build the life you love.